Welcome back to HB Unfiltered Sports Talk. I'm joined again now by the Stiff Brownie, back from Vegas.
Oh gosh!
And I'm the. We'll get into that right off the bat. And I'm the Dirtbag. And real quick, I just want to let you know today's show is brought to you by J3 Supply for your hoses and fitting specialist needs. Come on down to Huntington Beach. All right.
It's a good
Vegas.
thing. It's a good thing I had a lot of adult beverages this weekend because my bracket was a dumpster fire.
Do you normally have kid drinks? What are you talking about? Adult beverages? Of course you had adult beverages.
Yeah, well, I needed it. The pain wouldn't go away. Every time I watched another game, we were seeing another upset.
You know,
Arizona, Purdue. I mean, they're all going down in a blaze of glory.
For the people who know us out there that are friends of Tim and I, they know how huge and passionate sports fans we are, and how giddy we're, like little kids waiting for Christmas when the March Madness bracket comes out. And all I can think of is, man, I know more than those guys. I'm gonna have a perfect bracket. I'm gonna win $1 million.
Absolutely.
I get all fired up, and then I get everything ready, get a couple snacks, sit down with that first beer, turn on the game, and just watch my bracket fall apart with the very first one.
Yep.
West Virginia, you lose to Jason Haggerty.
He said it. He told me.
Well, of course, he's a homer.
He told me well, that's true, but he told me at the table. He said, we got them. He goes, and then we're gonna face Bama and we're gonna get crushed. And so I wrote him. Who else doesn't have better inside information than somebody that literally is so passionate about the school he went to that he knows even what the lacrosse team's doing because he's given me lacrosse betting advice before.
Obviously not a great education at Maryland if you say we got them. I think that's not the way you pronounce that or say that at all. We got them.
Well, they
what are you,
played great.
Skeeter?
They played great against West Virginia. They looked good, and then they got absolutely obliterated by Alabama, which I think there's going to be a lot of teams that get beat up by them.
Yeah, Alabama's got a bunch of shooters.
So we had NC State, we had Baylor. Creighton went through the I mean...
Here. Yeah.
I just got slashes everywhere.
Yeah. No. After the West, everybody's got the Alabama, right? And then West Virginia tanks. I really thought Charleston was going to beat San Diego.
They got screwed. That last second foul call absolutely F them up.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
That was bullshit.
It was. Those refs were horrible.
Yeah, and then Virginia, how about your player called timeout? Did they not have any timeouts?
They did not.
Is that why you just chucked it up in the air?
I don't know. But did you hear the kid going into the locker room go, I can't believe he threw the ball up in the air from Furman. And congratulations to those kids. They played a great game.
Yeah, Furman. I actually had to Google it and find out where that school was.
Where is it?
It's in South Carolina.
Okay.
Looks like I think it's Greenville, South Carolina, and it's on this nice little peninsula, like a lake. And that's about it. I won't go there or visit.
First weekend we've got Virginia out, Duke out, Kansas out, Purdue out.
Yeah.
All these teams had a legitimate shot at making a massive run, and potentially being in the Final Four. And
Purdue,
they couldn't even get out of the first weekend.
Purdue, you have one of the college players of the year. He's 7'4". That team on the other side of you, FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson, whatever you want to call them, they averaged 6'3.5", and their tallest player was 6'6". Can't you just tell them, go down to the block, turn around, big guy. We're going to throw the ball high. You're going to pivot towards the basket and then dunk it on them.
Yeah, you would think they would say that.
How the hell does Purdue, with their height, lose to that team? They were jumping all around like they were on springs.
Here's another perfect example of what we said in the last podcast leading up to the first weekend of March Madness. Anyone can beat anyone. And here's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, we did call that. We did say it had only happened once before. A number one beat Virginia again a couple years ago. It's the first time ever, and we even said it on this show that we thought that this is the year a 16 will beat a 1, a 15 will beat a 2.
Yeah.
Princeton, by the way, if you want to watch a good
I'm very impressed by
team
them.
play basketball
Yeah.
as 5 guys in sync, playing together, setting picks, doing backdoor cuts, hitting the open shot. They are an awesome team, and I'm telling you, I think they go further. I think they can beat Creighton. Creighton's a good team, and Creighton had a couple good wins, but I think Princeton can keep going.
So interesting statistic came out. Princeton has covered the last 6 straight games on the betting line, including 4 as the dog. So that being said, Creighton's also 5-1 against the spread. But as far as defensive efficiency, there's only one team that I know of in the tournament that are higher ranked defensively than Princeton, and that's San Diego State.
Wow, that's a good nugget of information.
Which we also have more stats coming out on that in a moment.
But San Diego State gets the best team in the country now. So we'll really see how far San Diego State has come around. I was shocked with the what am I saying? I was shocked with the whole tournament so far. Duke and Tennessee. Tennessee is missing one of their best players, Ziegler. And man, Tennessee just dominated them. Another good defensive team that just shut down Duke.
They just couldn't make a shot. I actually watched that game because I was on Duke, and they, down the stretch they just didn't make any shots. And there's been a lot of teams like that. I mean, I'll go back to the Princeton game. Arizona looked completely uncomfortable offensively that entire game.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and they play Missouri, and it's the exact same thing. They didn't know Missouri was, I think, down 6, I think, at half, but within a shot. And then this whole second half, it was like they didn't know what to do.
That might, you know how there's live betting out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that Princeton game was a perfect idea of how you can win at live betting, because all you got to do is watch the first half to see how Princeton was playing and how crazy and the wheels are coming off the bus Missouri was playing.
Yeah.
And you knew that Princeton was going to come out in the second half and do the same exact thing.
Oh, yeah. They were playing excellent defense, and it didn't look like they were tired. It wasn't like they were pressing them.
Yeah.
They were just, jumping ball screens and doing, basketball stuff, and we don't really need to get into that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, yeah.
And Missouri started to panic with about 10 minutes left. I know they were down
just like Arizona.
I know they were down by 16, 18. But when you start panicking with 10 minutes left and you start just chucking up threes from 2 feet beyond the 3-point line with a guy in your face,
yep.
I'm not sure what kind of basketball you're playing.
Not efficient.
Yeah.
Not efficient basketball.
So recapping, we're gonna go over some of these games. So another good game, Kentucky versus Kansas State. That was a pretty good game, man. Back and forth.
I was on the wrong side of that as well. I was on Kentucky thinking that Kansas State had shot their wad, but when you start looking at the statistics again, Kansas State is covered. They're one of the best point spread records. So against the spread, they're covering at a super high clip coming into this tournament, and they continue to do it because I know Kentucky was favored. And I'm almost positive they weren't heavily favored against Montana State. I'm sure they were favored, but they crushed Montana State. So.
That's the one where I actually had Kansas State beating Kentucky, but you and the little dirtbag out voted me.
How about the little dirtbag calling some upsets?
He did.
Yeah.
He did pretty well, man.
Yeah, he had a lot of first opening day.
He saw when he
round.
said Furman.
Yep, he did.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Do you know?
Apparently, we need him on the show more often.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to speed up, pay off the chancellor and some other people over there at Cortland, get him out here. He not only did he hit a couple, but now I'm totally lost with my train of thought.
Well, I'm almost positive he picked Michigan State over Marquette.
He did. He did. He had that. That's what I had. I had Marquette. So Michigan State's looking good with Tom Izzo. They made USC. USC looked horrible in the first game against Michigan State.
They're just not a good team. They weren't one in the Pac-12, and that's the other thing too. When you start looking at the conference and the success rate, the only team that was doing halfway decent in the Pac-12 is UCLA. The rest of them were horrible.
You know, and UCLA keeps winning and guys keep getting hurt. Did you see the guy turn his ankle?
Yeah,
That looked horrible.
yeah.
Singleton, so he's probably out, right?
I don't
mean,
know.
he's
I don't
got
know
four-
yet, but that's a Thursday game, so he's got
Yeah.
a couple. He's got a couple days.
I saw him walking off the court, but it didn't look good. All right, let's move on to the other side of the bracket with the Houston's looking good. That Marcus Sasser is a stud.
Yes, he is.
So, in Miami looked pretty good.
Let me give you a quick statistic because we do want to touch on some of this gambling stuff because this is what we do. Just so you know, Houston is 3-8 against the spread in the last 11 games.
Wow.
They're laying 6.5 against Miami.
I'll take the plus 6.5 based
Yep.
on that little nugget of information.
I believe so.
All right, and then we got Xavier is looking good.
Dude, they look great.
Yeah,
They haven't even started sweating yet in this playoff.
Pitt was playing well too in those first two wins.
Yep.
I thought they would cover the 5.5. I actually lost that one. And then I had Texas beating Penn State.
So I had Texas winning on my own brackets that I did. I have Texas winning the whole thing.
Okay.
So I need this. I need that.
So, yeah. Hey, so how important? Obviously, it's important. But do you think Kansas lost because Bill Self, with dealing with health problems, wasn't on the bench?
No, because the staff that Bill Self has around him are excellent coaches, and I disagree completely. What are you gonna motivate in a different way? I guess I could see Bill Self maybe yelling a bit more because it seemed like the head assistant was a lot more mild mannered as a coach. It seemed
Right.
like when I saw pictures of him or when I saw camera shots of him on the sideline. But, at the end of the day, those guys got to put the ball in the hoop. And they flat out didn't do it in the second half. Just like Duke didn't do it in the second half. And that's it.
Okay, I got to get your take now on the other side of this coaching spectrum. So Arkansas's got Eric Musselman. And yes, you beat number one Kansas. They truly weren't a number one seed. They should have been a 2 seed. UCLA should have been the 1 seed.
Yes, I agree with you.
They had 3 more losses, and also UCLA was number 2 going into that Pac-12 title game. They should have been a number 1 seed. But Arkansas's coach, Eric Musselman, what did you think of his celebration? Now, this is about the kids and them celebrating on the court and moving on. Where does he get off taking his shirt off, jumping on the counter there, and just start going crazy?
I like it.
You like it?
I like passion.
Well, I like passion too, but can we do it with our shirt on?
Well,
Why don't you just take your pants off?
I wouldn't take my shirt off.
Why don't you just stand up there with your tidy whities and start?
Hey, listen. It's a big win for Arkansas there because Kansas is the
It
number
is.
1 seed, and Arkansas was one of those teams that had they not done as well as they did in their conference tournament, they probably wouldn't have been even in the show.
Tell you, if Kentucky would have beat Kansas State, the SEC was looking really good.
Yep. Yeah. They're
All right.
strong.
All right, so now a team that I thought would play a lot better was TCU against Gonzaga.
Man, Gonzaga's just good. That Timmy dude.
They are good, but this is I would say one of their weaker teams because they're not like in the top 10. This time they fell, they were down to like 15, 17.
They lost 2 senior guards the last 2 seasons that were instrumental. I mean, when it comes down to the NCAA tournament, you have success with guard play. Your guards have to be strong.
Yes.
And that's a perfect example is Kansas State.
Yeah,
that little guard
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
a beast.
he is.
So, yeah, I mean,
Ball of energy.
I feel like even though the spread against UCLA is UCLA -2, it's going to be a great game. But I feel like I give the edge to UCLA only because they've been there before, and perhaps there's a lot of young guys on Gonzaga. I like the senior guard play out of UCLA, so I'm taking UCLA.
Okay. Yeah, UCLA looked good against Northwestern, who's a disciplined team.
The other thing I do have to tell you is Gonzaga is 15-19 against the spread this season. So,
Okay, that's not good.
yeah,
That's below 500.
yeah. So I like UCLA for that reason as well.
All right. Now, before we cut to a break, and we're going to be coming back and talking about the re-picking of the 16. We're going to give ourselves and the listeners a second chance, because there are pools where they give you a second chance to maybe win like 25,000. Is there any other part of the weekend that you want to bring up? Maybe a nice little story from Vegas, how you got your friend completely dumpster fire?
No, I won't say that. But I did learn how to play baccarat, and I've never played it before. And I was in this room with a group of people, and I have a good friend named Brian who'd never played it before either. So we're sitting there, we're trying to figure it out. And the guy that's sitting at the table gives Brian a $25,000 chip. We're in the high rollers area.
Right.
Gives Brian, I think, either 25,000 or 75,000 as just like a credit line.
Nice credit line.
He not only pays the guy back 75 grand, but he ends up walking away with $160,000. And he is so drunk that he is literally speaking Swahili. I couldn't understand a single word he was saying. But he wins 160 grand. And
At a game, he has no clue what he's doing.
We were literally we tried for an hour to like figure it out, and then the guys that were playing the high rollers said, just come up here and we'll show you how to play it. So we end up playing it. He wins 160 grand, and the only sentence of English that he said the entire night is, "I love this game." It was a great time.
Dude,
It really
oh my
was.
God, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, it was excellent.
I'm sure those dealers, get those kind of tips sometimes. But even when you get it, you got to be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like, you got to double check that. Does the pit boss really allow a guy to get a tip that big?
Well, I'm sure he gets. Yeah, they get tipped. It's high rollers, so you got to have $1 million credit line. I'm sure.
I would have been. Hey man,
I mean, the guy handed 75 grand over.
Where's
like
my $75,000 chip for being your friend on this table?
It'd be like me handing you $7.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. On that one, we'll take a break.